Hey, everybody, it's David Nagel. Welcome to another episode of What's the Truth? Today, my special guest is Liliana Perez. Liliana, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Doing fantastic. I'm really happy to have you here. And how can we help you? What's going on? What can we do to move your life along a little bit?
Thank you for the opportunity. So, my main question right now, amongst all the questions that I have in life in general, is how is it that you are able to make bold monetary decisions when your life, or just the truth, as they say, right? The truth tells you that you're being financially irresponsible. Um, I asked that in terms of my business and just life in general, or something as simple as uh, something that you find furniture that's on sale, but you know that you don't have enough money right now to buy it. So you really shouldn't do it. But then if you wait later on, once that sale passed, it's going to cost 3 times the amount. So it's like, how do I do that? And more in terms of my business, really. But that's just the example that I guess is more relatable.
Yeah. So that's an interesting example. So when we're coming from that example, really the story around money, the idea that there's not enough, or that I don't have enough, or I won't have enough, and I need to take advantage of a sale, something like that. These are ideas that are planted in people's minds that keep them in ignorance of how money is generated in their life, how they can control that, and what they actually want to spend money on. So I do think that one of the foundations of the truth for this is, how does a person want to live their life? Like, from a financial perspective, from a business perspective, from the perspective of what they want to have in their life that costs money, how do they actually want to live their life? Because when you say, I don't, if I do that, am I being responsible or not, or am I being irresponsible? Well, that depends. It depends on if you have the ability to generate the money to be able to pay for the thing that you're going to spend money on. Are you really solid in your awareness and your skill set that you can generate that money? Are you willing to do the work to generate that money to be able to do that? Because if you can answer yes to those things, then it's not an irresponsible act in and of itself, right? It could be, if you have an overall goal or a vision where you're going to really pay attention to your finances, you're going to create money that from a strategic perspective, to move your business forward, to move your life forward, and you're going to do strategic spending with that money. And then all of a sudden, you get impulsive and you want to go buy something. Well, if you do that too often, you're going to really disrupt your strategy, right? Because then you still have to come up with the money to pay for it, or you're going to have the pressure of the debt, or whatever. But if you're doing it from a strategic place where you know that you can do your business, you can do your work, and you can create the money to pay for it, then it's not an irresponsible thing. I think it's irresponsible also when a person says, I'm going to buy this and worry about paying it later, when they really have no idea how they're going to pay it. They have not developed the skill set or the awareness around earning a lot of money, or even just enough to pay for whatever it is they purchased. And then they end up having to make payments on it, and they may not be making enough money on a regular basis to pay their bills, so their debt becomes higher than their monthly income. That's when a person starts to get in trouble. So what I like to do with the people that I work with is really have them fundamentally understand how money is brought into their life, and learn the skill sets that allow them to do that whenever they want. Because if you can do it whenever you want, if you really understand how to do it, and what I mean by that is that you understand how to sell, you understand how to create a product or a service that you can sell for a profit, you know how to prospect or market to find people in order to sell to, then you'll never be broke. You'll never be in a situation where you won't be able to raise the money, because you've ingrained that into your behavior, the way that you think, your nervous system. You don't have to get yourself to do the work. You know how to do it. If a person does that, they really become very free from the idea of stressing about money to pay for anything, because they know that they'll be able to do it. And they have developed they don't procrastinate around it. They're able to go in, they're able to get it done. So now they can use all of that energy on expanding their business, expanding their life, creating, really where they want to go and how they want to live. Um, and that is where a person doesn't have to worry about money anymore. Doesn't mean that they don't have to manage it. Doesn't mean that they don't have to direct it, but they don't have to worry about it at that point.
Okay. So it's mainly a skill set issue, in other words, because I know that in the past when I've needed to make money for anything, I didn't have a problem picking up extra hours, doing whatever I had to do. But now you want more things, you want bigger items than necessarily putting in. You're not going to be able to say when you're making $40,000 a year, but what you want is 80,000, right? You're not really going to be able to work. How are you going to get more hours? And let's say if you're working, like you're saying, trading dollars for hours, and how am I going to be able to pay for that unless it is a credit card? Because sometimes I do realize, like, oh, we got the opportunity, we just got approved for more on the credit card. It's like, no, but that's not what we want. We don't want
Right.
to keep adding to the debt. Like, what can I do in order to make that opportunity show up, but not make the opportunity be, oh, you got more, your credit limit increased? That's not the opportunity, which I feel has been happening. It's like, oh, you could borrow the money. It's like, no, what can I do? So I'm guessing it's a skill set.
It is a skill set. And I think that if a person is in a position where they're working to earn money, and they're looking at charging money or going into debt, if they're using that debt as constructive debt to learn, to become educated or learn skill sets on how to start their own business and get them out of that situation, then I think it's fine. I started that way. I did not have the cash to pay for the seminars that I took, the books that I was buying, the coaches that I hired. I had to basically charge that in order to get that education to do it. Now, having said that, you also have to be a person that takes that education and puts it into practice. You have to actually do the work, because so many people don't. They go to seminars, they spend a lot of money, they travel, they do all that stuff, thousands of dollars, and then they come home and they don't do anything with what it was that they were taught, and they're stuck again. So they can't even get themselves to do the work. So that's a major, major issue. But I don't think a person should take and spend that credit on anything that's not necessary while they're learning how to get out of a situation where they're trading time for money, because it's the worst trade a person can make. But it's the trade that most of us are taught to make all of our life. You have to go out and learn the skill sets of how to really earn money and what causes money to come into a person's life. Otherwise, you're always at the mercy of somebody giving you a job or being qualified for a job or having to go work more hours to make more money or maybe get better tip money, which is, it's very difficult, and it's a very, very stressful way for a person to live. So yes, it is a skill set. The skill set that does it is basically sales, really understanding what sales is and becoming very proficient at sales, because then you can go anywhere, any place that you can make a sale. You can go and earn however much money you want. You're not limited anymore in life as far as it as making money. And you can start your own business. You can learn business skills, and then there's no limit to your income at all. So it really sets you free financially, excuse me, which I believe then sets a person free in other areas of their life, because now you have the ability to start to expand how you're experiencing the world. You can dig deeper into, what do you have inside of yourself that wants to be expressed in this lifetime. You can help more people because you have mastered the art of bringing money into your life. And unless, like, money completely goes away, because here's the other thing that you're doing is you're mastering how to bring resources into your life. And most resources, unless you're like out there digging for water in a well or something, most resources are brought through some form of communication with other people who have the resources, and then a negotiation on what you're going to pay for those resources. And money is a resource. So that is the key resource that makes all the other resources move. So just by having the skill set to bring it in, you completely open up your life to so many more possibilities versus the only skill set around money that you have is trading your time for money. In other words, i.e. getting a job and having to do that repetition over and over again for just a little bit of money that barely moves a person's life forward,
Yeah.
because I mean, just to live a decent life today, especially if you have a family and you have any kinds of bills, it is tough to do it with just a job. It's very, very difficult, and your income never goes up in a job comparable to the way that prices go up in the world. It's always
No, never.
lopsided. You know, that's why so many people live their life based on sales and cutting out coupons and trying to get the best bargain that they can, because they have not mastered money. If there was an abundance of money, you would never even worry about a sale. You'd be
That's
like,
true.
okay, I want this. It doesn't matter if it's on sale or not, because there's no lack of money
Right.
coming in on the front end. It's only when I don't have enough and I have to stretch that money to make it
Mhm.
go as far as I can to get my basic needs met, that now
Right.
that idea becomes important.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. You're always trying to figure out how to stretch it out. And I've always been, like I said before, never had a problem just picking up extra hours. I've always worked extra hours, putting in work from home, do whatever, pick up an extra job. But then I realized there's got to be more to this. There
Yeah.
is, because there's never enough, like you said, never enough.
Yep.
So
if you learn how to sell,
sales.
it is the greatest skill set that you can learn that will set you free anywhere. Because even if you want to work in sales for someone else, you don't want to be in your own business, you
Okay.
can totally write your own ticket. Hi there.
I'm sorry. I tried.
It's okay. It's okay.
Tried.
You're totally fine.
No,
She's
I really
adorable.
appreciate you. I've been I've been making faces at her like, be quiet. She just, I'm sorry.
Hi
I
there.
appreciate this.
I know you.
Yeah.
You do. I know you too.
Yeah, they know you. Yeah, so sales is what it is. I had experience, my biggest time where I learned, whenever you hear the word sales, people scram, because I was a recruiter for some time, and it was a recruiter for sales. How about that? I somehow ended up in that position. I don't know how I did that. Because of my experiences in that field, I ended up as a recruiter, and I had to sell people to join a company doing sales. And I realized that I was good at building the relationship, but I wasn't actually good at selling the person for the job, you could say.
Right.
But I was good at the relationship part. But being in there, seeing what they taught them was what helped me a little bit more, like realizing like, oh my God, well, they're the ones that are making more money because they're the ones doing the sales.
Yeah.
So, because I was being the recruiter, I was the corporate one that just had that steady paycheck, and they were the ones that were able to make more money. So that was my first experience seeing that, oh my God, sales really is where it's at.
It is.
I need to get out of my own way in order to finally start being able to have the conversation without feeling like I'm being salesy.
It'll change everything.
Really.
And understand this, sales is basically, all it is a conversation that we do with other people to help them make a decision on solving a problem or getting a solution to something that they want in life. So the salesy idea is when you're trying to push your agenda to make the sale onto someone who doesn't necessarily want it, or you're trying to get them not to think in order to buy. That's not the way an ethical sale is done at all. It is really just talking to a person about, what problem do they have? Why do they want to solve it? What happens if they don't solve it? And are they willing to invest the time or the money into the solution or the product that they want in order to get their needs fulfilled? And that's all that it is. And then from there, it's a numbers game, right? So you have to go through the numbers. Every business has to go through the numbers of making sales. Every business gets more no's than they get yeses. I mean, even McDonald's, right? Take McDonald's, for instance. Everybody that drives by McDonald's and does not buy from them is a no, right? It's a no for McDonald's. Maybe they go to Wendy's or Taco Bell or to a nicer restaurant, but it's a no for McDonald's. They get enough yeses with the people that walk through the front door, go through the drive-through, that they're one of the largest corporations in the world. And that's all that they need, and it's not even a good product anymore, right? So it's the same thing with any other product or service. You have to go through the numbers, you have to ask, you have to look to provide service, and then you have to fulfill on whatever it is that you sold. And then it is the highest paid profession in the world. Nobody makes more than salespeople do. Right. And when you see like athletes, when you see actors and actresses, when you see rock stars, all these people are salespeople, because what they're really selling is butts in seats to watch their movie or come to their concert or watch them on the basketball court or whatever it might be. They're making a sale that says, I'm trading, you can watch me for entertainment, and I'm going to be good at it. So you'll like it and you'll pay to be in the seats. And then I get the income that I get,
Right.
So they just do it to a mass amount of people at one time.
Okay. So in the end, it basically comes down to also the say budgeting and making sure that you're, well, definitely the sales, learning how to sell, but within it, like knowing, like you said, like don't invest too much, because I know that I caught myself going against the advice of those that I felt like, well, I can't really trust you because you're not exactly where I want to be.
Right.
So the advice was, hey, don't spend too much, invest too much in your business right now. But then I would kind of like rebel against it, like, no, I need to double down on my business right now. So I don't
Yeah.
spend too much money. So then that's when I'm like, okay, then I'm overdoing it. So
the question is,
it's like,
where are you investing the money, and what
okay,
is the chance that you're going to get the payback in return for the money that
okay,
you spend? So if you go out and buy a television or you go out and buy a car, it's not going to pay you anything back. But if you invest in your business that has the ability to pay you back, and you're running that business correctly, then that is a wise investment, even if it's
okay,
costing you extra money to be able to do it, even when times are harder. If you have to
right,
spend extra money to get the same amount of leads or more to be able to move the business forward, that's a smart thing to do.
okay, that makes sense then. Okay,
Absolutely.
and combine it with sales training.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Of course.
it is, there, when people come to me, especially if they've just started out in a business, the number one skill that I want them to master for the first year is sales. I want them to be able to walk away in a year and go, I don't care where I go, what I do, I can sell. I know it inside and out, backward and forward, and I don't have to push myself to get myself to do it. I'm disciplined.
Okay.
I can show up every day and get that done. If you can do that, we can build any business.
Okay. So I've worked to do then.
Good. Very good.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for
I
coming
really
on.
appreciate it. No, thank you so much.
You have a
Appreciate
sweet
it.
little girl there.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience too.
You're welcome. We'll talk to you later.
Take care. Thank
Bye
you.
for now.
Bye.
Bye.